Does your favorite NFL team have any chance to win the Super Bowl this season? Welcome, football fans, to my official ranking from number 32 to number 1, from the lowest percentage chance to the highest percentage, the most likely outcome. I'm ranking every NFL team in terms of their chance to win Super Bowl 60. If that sounds good, Gronk, spike the like button for more NFL rankings just like this. And as always, I keep it real. I'm going to be brutally honest with you and your team. Do they suck? Do they have no chance? And keep in mind, when it comes to ranking Super Bowl chances, it's different than ranking every team in terms of if they'll make the playoffs, how many games they'll win. No, Super Bowl chances, it more comes down to the potential of the team, the actual ceiling of the team, rather than simply the floor. Of course, the quarterback, the coaching staff, those things still matter the most, but I'm looking at, can this team get it done in the playoffs? Do they have the makings of a team that could really be spectacular on defense, on offense? Do they have something that they can hang their hat on to make them a special team? Is there a player? Is there a unit? Is there something that makes this team potentially Super Bowl spectacular? That's what I'm searching for. And I'm listing the teams in order from number 32 to number 1. Let's get started. Let me know in the comments who's overrated, who's underrated, what's right about my list, and what's wrong about my list. So, at number 32, the team that I believe has the lowest percentage chance of winning the Super Bowl, the New Orleans Saints. I also do believe that the Saints have the highest chance of being the first overall pick, but it's going to come down to the Saints being able to out-lose pathetic NFL franchises, because the Saints are not overall, as much as they have tried in the past, they are not pathetic like Cleveland or the Jets. They're not truly pathetic. But the Saints do have the lowest chance of winning the Super Bowl. Why? Because they have possibly a rookie quarterback, and or if that rookie can't start, which is a huge concern if he can't, because they really want him to in Tyler Shuck. If he can't start, we're talking about Spencer Rat-a-tat-Tatler. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about the worst quarterback position in football, combined with a rookie head coach. That's not going to get it done. Combined with an old defense, combined with a youthful offensive line. What kind of collaboration and combination of things is that? That's certainly not spectacular. So at number 32, I'm sorry, Saints, you are last. At number 31, the New York Jets, Jets. We're living off our Super Bowl from 68? Joe Namath? You know what? I guarantee, Jets fans, that you will absolutely suck. That's what I guarantee. You have very little chance of winning the Super Bowl. The only reason I boost you above the Saints is you've got a couple studs on defense. I'll give you Sauce Gardner. I'll give you Quinnen and Quincy Williams. I will say Justin Fields has more upside at quarterback than Tyler Shuck, and maybe even a couple of the guys that are above you, because he is a great athlete, and he is decently young, so he still does have some upside. He's got a rocket, so maybe he could figure it out if he could hit water if he fell out of a boat. He can't even do that. You got Aaron Glenn, who is promising as a culture setter. Maybe he can boost this franchise, their toughness, their grit in the right direction, and get the most out of this defense. Maybe they're going to be a great running team behind a really powerful upside offensive line. There are things that are promising about the Jets. At the same time, if I had to rank all the quarterback coach combinations in football, they would be very, very low on the list. And if I were to rank all the receiving cores, which I actually already did, they'd be very, very low on the list. So the Jets do not have a lot of passing game upside, and they don't have a dominant enough defense for me to be truly inspired. So at number 31, the Jets will suck. That's my guarantee. At number 30, the Cleveland Browns. First of all, the Cleveland Browns have never won a Super Bowl, so you have to get that over first of all. Second, the quarterback position. The fact that fans are clamoring, the media is clamoring. I don't know. Everybody is clamoring for a 5th-round pick to start at quarterback. Speaks to how bad your quarterback situation is, Browns. That's how bad it is. Because you paid $1,000,000,000 to Deshaun Watson. I'm not going to let you forget it. The offensive line, one tackle is always injured. The other tackle, he's probably overweight. The receiving core, they stank. The running back group, they have questionable morals. The defense, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward are holding it together with a bunch of duct tape. The Browns are booty. Now, I do put them at number 30 because they have Joseph Flacco. Elite Joe Flacco. January Joe. And one thing I can say about Joe Flacco that I can't say about Tyler Shuck, that I can't say about Justin Fields, that I can't say about a lot of quarterbacks, is Joe Flacco has touched the Lombardi Trophy. He has raised the Lombardi Trophy with his bare hands. And it might have been over a decade ago. But I saw that happen in my life. It wasn't a dream. It really happened. I've also seen Joe Flacco go out there and sling it. He's not scared of nothing. So Joe Flacco is going to go down swinging. So if the Browns do have a chance, it's through Joe Flacco, the best defensive player in football, and that's enough for me to rank them not at the bottom of the list. At number 29, the Tennessee Titans. Now, a rookie quarterback has never won the Super Bowl, but Jaden Daniels got damn close last year. A lot of people would have ranked the Commanders around the Titans, where we're ranking the Titans this year. So I'm not going to completely eliminate the Titans' opportunity. Last year, their defense played phenomenal for about 6, 7, 8 weeks. They were really good for a good portion of the year. They were actually really solid in yards allowed, right? Like their run defense, Devondre Sweat, Jeff Simmons. If L'Jarius Sneed can get his head out of his rear end, they've got a cornerback. And they have improved the offensive line greatly. They've got a decent backfield. Calvin Ridley looks like he's back in his prime. The man must be gambling again. And Cam Ward is a leader. Cam Ward is a dog. Cam Ward has skills, man. So I'm not going to count him out. I don't like Callahan. But the Titans, with the young quarterback, it should make them a better team, a more explosive offense, a more fun offense, a more productive offense. Their defense is solid. So I'm going to put them at number 29 here. At number 28, the Carolina Panthers. The Carolina Panthers, I'm sorry, but Bryce Young, I think will be better this year. I do. But do I see Bryce Young going through the entire NFC playoffs and winning a Lombardi? Especially considering the defense that he has. Absolutely not. So maybe I could think that Bryce is better than some of the quarterbacks that are coming up. The offense of Carolina could be better than people expect. It might be actually one of the most improved in football. The O-line is good. Chuba Hubbard, Rico Dowdle, I love that backfield. T-Mac looks like a stud. I like Jalen Coker. Adam Thielen, 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 Adam But Bryce Young against Matthew Stafford? Bryce Young against Jaden Daniels? Bryce Young against the Eagles? Bryce Young against Purdy? Bryce Young against whoever you want to put him up against. He's probably not as good as that guy. That guy might have more help than him. And you're damn sure that guy has a better defense. So at number 28, I have Carolina. I'm sorry. At number 27, the New York G-Men. The Giants are at 27 for the simple fact that they have a chance to have the best pass rush and by proxy, the best defense in football. Abdul Carter looks like an absolute phenom already. And Dexter Lawrence is a phenom. He's basically the Undertaker. You got Brian Burns. You got Javon Holland. You got Bobby Ake. You also got Paulson Adebo. I like Phillips and Nubin. The defense could be pretty damn good. And the Giants have won Super Bowls based on defense. I almost feel bad putting them this low. But you want me to trust Russell Wilson at this stage? I know he's won a Super Bowl. I know he attended 2 of those things. But this is 2025 Russell Wilson. It's moonball, it's sack, or it's throwaway. I love Malik Neighbors. I think Tyrone Tracy's going to be good. I know Andrew Thomas is good. They got enough weaponry. It's not too bad. Brian Daboll, I believe in more than most. But the quarterback position, a little bit of that offensive line, Jackson Dart, really? That's the guy? That guy? He looks like he's dumber than a sack of hammers. So at number 27, I got the Giants. At number 26, who's at number 26? The Indianapolis Colts. That's who. Now, the Colts are at 26, and this was tough between them and the Giants. I'm not going to lie. Because Anthony Richardson, whether you think he sucks, which I certainly do, or you think he's the next coming of Cameron Newton, you have to admit that he has upside. He's ginormous. He can run. He has a rocket attached to his, I guess, his shoulder. What's it attached to? It's attached to his shoulder, right? He has Jonathan Taylor. He has Ty Warren, straight out of Friday Night Lights, the TV series. He has Alec Pierce, the fastest white man in the NFL, or at least one of them. He has, I don't know who else he has. Josh Downs. He has Michael Pittman. He's got big Quentin Nelson. The defense has a defensive line. Buckner leading the way. Latu could be a breakout. He's got a freaky Franklin in the middle. The secondary's improved. You've got Big Game Lou doing his big game plans. They can run the ball. Steichen is taking crap quarterbacks to 8 wins. They're in a terrible division. So ultimately, yeah, I think the quarterback position ultimately is the downfall. They stink. But if they're adequate, they have a chance to win this division because they have a really good roster, a decent coaching staff, and they're in the AFC South. So I have them at number 26. At number 25, Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since I was like 3. The Miami Dolphins, bro. Now, here's the thing. Miami does have a pretty high ceiling, but their ceiling is also capped by the fact that their quarterback can't throw the ball in wind or snow, the fact that they're softer than Charmin, and the fact that they can't play against good teams and win. So yeah, they have a ceiling of putting up 70. They have a ceiling of being the best offense in football for a 4-week stretch. Because they got Tyreek the Freak Cheetah with his 15 kids. They've got Jalen Waddle, the Penguin himself. They even have Darren Waller out of retirement. But they're soft. Their coach doesn't know if he's going to live tomorrow. He admitted it himself. I don't know what's wrong with that guy. The offensive line, it's already broken. The cornerbacks are led by a man literally named Storm Duck. The pass rush is good, but they're always hurt. Chop is hurt now. So Miami has talent. Miami has explosiveness. Miami has speed. Miami has sexiness. But Miami is soft. At number 24. Miami, get out of here. Number 24, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders are at number 24. First of all, they've got Peter Carroll, who is the youngest old man I've ever seen in my life. He's also the best gum chewer in the NFL. You've got Chip Kelly, fresh off a national title, proving he can win at one level. Can he do it at another? You've got Geno Smith, who some people might say doesn't have a high ceiling, but I've seen this guy go game-winning drive after game-winning drive, and he didn't write back. Brock Bowers is at least arguably the best player at his position. Check mark. Ashton Genty could be the best player at his position. Check mark. I think the O-line's better than people think. It's good enough to win a Super Bowl. Jacoby Myers is the type of player that wins Super Bowls. Gritty, tough, possession guy, converts first downs. They don't have a lot of electricity in their receiving core, but the offense is pretty decent. Now, I also like the collective as a coaching staff. I think the culture is strong. I think they're going to fight. They're going to play hard. Pete Carroll's won a Super Bowl. Defensively, they have Max the Madman Crosby, who's one of the best defensive players in football. But my problem is, other than Max Crosby, we got a lot of problems. Their linebacking core is slower than ultra running backwards. Their D-tackle group is in shambles. They're trying to trade for third-string Eagles just to play for them. I like Malcolm Kuntz. I don't mind Tyree Wilson. We'll see what Darian Porter's got. But I don't know, man. Eric Stokes is starting for you. Darnay Holmes is starting for you. Jeremy Chin is the next Chancellor in Pete Carroll's mind. He has dementia. He probably thought it was Cam Chancellor when he signed him. So at number 24, I love the Raiders. I think they got heart. They got passion. They got some skill, but not enough. At number 23, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, Jacksonville, you have a young coach that I like. He's promising. Liam Cohen, one of the better play callers in football. He's very creative. He's going to put his players in the right positions. I do foresee a little bit of improvement on the offensive line. Now, there's also potential here because some of these guys are young, like their left tackle, who could take a step forward after a pretty promising 2024, or a Brenton Strange, who could be pretty good in his third year now or his second year now. He could take a positive step forward. They have a plethora of running backs who are decent, and maybe one of them stands out of the group. They do have arguably the most freakish college football player we've ever seen in Travis Hunter. And he could be an excellent number 2 receiver to an ascending potential top 5 guy in the league in Brian Thomas Jr. They have all the playmaking capacity and capabilities. You throw in De'Ami Brown. Trevor Lawrence was once a phenom. Trevor Lawrence was once the chosen one. Trevor Lawrence was once generational. Can Liam Cohen squeeze the juice out of the lemon that remains? If that's the case, we got a top 10 offense here. That's a check mark. Now, defensively, I think that they've played far worse than the personnel. Josh Hines Allen, I apologize. You don't want to be known as the second Josh Allen. Trayvon Walker, even Eric Armstead, can he still do it? Devin Lloyd, Foye Oluokun, right? Darnell Savage, I've seen play well. Jordan Lewis, I've seen play well. Tyson Campbell, I've seen play very well. They have some talent here. Can they get the most out of it? This team did make the playoffs under Trevor Lawrence before. They did win a playoff game once before with Trevor Lawrence. That gives me a little bit of aspirations and hope. But at the same time, guys, it's Jacksonville. Am I really going to count on that? It's Duval at the end of the day. So I can only put them so high. I have them at number 23. At number 22, the Atlanta Falcons, which now that I say the Atlanta Falcons out loud, I feel like I've put them too high on the list. Because are the Falcons ever going to win the Super Bowl? Probably not. Let's just be honest. They had a very good chance once upon a time. I remember, I don't know if you guys remember, it's a pretty famous game. I think they were up 28-3 at one point. I don't know if you guys remember that, but that did happen, you know. Now, the one thing I'll say about the Falcons is their offense last year was top 10. They might have the best running back in football. They do have a top 10 offensive line. Their quarterback is an X factor, a wild card, but in a positive way is Michael Penix. It's not the other word. It's Penix. Now, he has a giant arm. No, get your head out of the gutter. A giant arm, okay? And he can sling it. He's got a rocket. He's got upside. And Drake London, man, he's phenomenal. Darnell Mooney, he's really good. Kyle Pitts, he's supposed to be really good. So at the end of the day, you've got a offense that has a lot of potential, a lot of potency, a lot of potential points on the board. I like Zach Robinson. I don't like Raheem Morris. I think he is an absolute jabroni. This is what is hurting me when it comes to ranking the Falcons' chance to win a Super Bowl. Because they have an absolute dumbass as a head coach. Now, defensively, they do have James Pierce Jr., who could be a dog. They do have Jesse Bates, who is a dog. They do have A.J. Terrell, who's close to a dog. They do have Caden Ellis, who's the most underrated linebacker in football. But they need to find a pass rush. Their secondary depth is a little suspect. But I do feel like they've improved that through the draft, this offseason. Overall, I think they had a solid defensive offseason. I think there's potential to get better on defense this year. I think there's potential to be an upside offense this year. So I think pieces could come together for them to win their division. I think pieces could come together for them to be a playoff team. I think there's enough of a ceiling here to rank them at number 22. So I have the Falcons at 22. At number 21, the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seahawks are difficult because I really can't wrap my head around Sam Darnold lifting the Lombardi Trophy. I don't even know if that's possible. But they do have a possibly really good defense. So that definitely raises their floor, first of all. They do have a coach that I believe in. Unlike Raheem Morris, I believe in Mike McDonald. I think that he is a great defensive coach. I think that when you can win the line of scrimmage defensively, you can stop the run, you have multiple corners who can cover, you've got playmakers at safety. I think you can be a dangerous team. You've got a dominant home field advantage potentially, at times in the past at least. You have potentially, top 5, top 10 talent at running back. You do have a excellent receiver who converts first downs, is the type of receiver you want on a Super Bowl team that will come through with 10 catches in a playoff game in JSN. You have an old vet who might still have it. He might not, but maybe he does. Cooper Kupp. You do have a really good left tackle in Charles Cross. And you do have potentially an improved offensive line. And I also think you have an improved offensive coordinator under Kubiak. But it's hard for me to imagine Sam Darnold going through the gauntlet of the NFL playoffs. I'm not going to lie. Like, in one of the 4 games, he's going to throw up on himself. Like, that's just the way it's going to go. And I'm not sure you have enough explosiveness on offense. I'm not sure you have really a tight end yet. We'll see. I don't know, man. I just feel like the defense gives them a good floor. I think they're a team that lands around 7 to 11 wins in that range. But I just don't see a huge ceiling for this team. I just feel like the ceiling is capped. It's not going to come from Jalen Milroe as a rookie, you know? So I have them at 21 here to win the Super Bowl. At number 20, we're entering the top 20 now. The Dallas Cowboys are at number 20. I have Dallas at 20 because any team that has CeeDee Lamb and Micah Parsons at least has a small chance of winning the Super Bowl, because you have arguably the best defensive player in football and you have one of the best receivers in football. And not only that, you do have a good quarterback who's been in the playoffs plenty of times. You do have a couple really good offensive linemen, Tyler Smith being one of them. You do have George Pickens as one of the best wide receiver 2 talents in football. You do have potentially a really upside-oriented defense, meaning Deron Bland, Trayvon Diggs. These guys are turnover machines. These guys have more picks in their young careers than some Hall of Famers. They really have that type of potential. Malik Hooker's a good player. They could eventually get back the man in the middle there as well. He was really looking impressive and overshown last season. And the defensive front overall, like Odigizua, Dante Fowler, these guys can get to the quarterback. So whenever you have a team that can throw the ball, that can throw it downfield, move the chains passing the ball, and just be a volume passing team, maybe Jaden Blue breaks out, right? And he really becomes something interesting at running back. I like Ferguson at tight end. If they can figure out the left tackle, right tackle, if they can settle in there, they can be adequate against the run. The more that I really think about it, the Cowboys maybe should be higher. But the thing is, Dallas hasn't been to the NFC Championship since 1995. For those of you that don't know, that's older than me. They haven't been to the NFC Championship since I was born. So there's that. They also have a complete unknown at head coach in Schottenheimer. And they do have some really big glaring holes in their run D and their offensive line. So there are a lot of potential, prospects here for Dallas. But at the same time, there are some issues. At number 19, the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are at 19 because I could see a season where Kyler Murray goes crazy. I feel like we've already kind of seen that. I feel like Kyler Murray is one of those quarterbacks that at his absolute peak could win the MVP. I'm serious. I feel like Kyler Murray at his absolute best could be an MVP candidate. Marvin Harrison Jr. was generational for a reason. Maybe he goes crazy in year 2. Who knows? They already have a top 3 tight end who's capable of 100 catches in Trey McBride. They have an absolute definition of dog in the backfield in James Conner. They have a really good left tackle in Paris Johnson. Their O-line's a little shaky, but offensively, they have enough there with Kyler's legs, the tight end, Marvin Harrison, James Conner. They have enough to be a top 10 offense. Defensively, they've completely recalibrated their defense. Who knows? Will Johnson could be Defensive Rookie of the Year. Budda Baker could be Defensive Player of the Year. He's really that good. The defensive line, they should be a lot better with Dalvin Tomlinson, Calais Campbell, Josh Sweat, Darius Robinson back, right? Walter Nolan eventually. There are holes here still. There are questions about Max Melton. There's questions about linebackers. There's questions about the age of their D tackles. But at the same time, Williams is really good. Imagine if Williams and Johnson are 2 studs at corner. They've got really good safeties. Kyler's going crazy. That certainly feels like a playoff team, and it has the potential to be a top 10 offense and at absolute best, a top 10 defense. That could be a team that could compete. At number 18, the Chicago Bears. Now, the Bears are at number 18 for Ben Johnson. I feel like Ben Johnson gives a team a chance to win a Super Bowl because whenever you have a chance to have the best play caller in the NFL, you have a chance to win the Super Bowl because that guy can just weekly go crazy. scheme people open, dissect your defense, perfectly sequence his plays. The O-line on paper is also spectacular. Rome Odunze, of course, everybody loved him. He could be a dog. DJ Moore, I know, is a dog at his best. Colston Loveland appears to be a dog. Luther Burden could be a dog. So they got a lot of skill talent. They got a lot of potential on the outside. Caleb Williams was generational. Now, he looks like absolute dog piss, but at the same time, he could be really good. I'm not going to completely write him off. You know? I'm like Geno Smith. I'm not writing off. I'm not writing back. Defensively, I feel like they're good. And I honestly think they're better than people think. Their secondary, I would say, is probably going to rank in my top 10. I think they've got really good depth at safety. I think they have good cornerbacks, especially with Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. I think their linebackers both have the potential to be top 10 players at their position in any given year. I feel like their D-line is solid. It's rock solid. It's not superstar, but it's rock solid, led by Montez Sweat. I like Javon Dexter too. So the Bears do have a really good roster. Two really good coaches on their sides of the ball, Ben Johnson, Dennis Allen. The question is, though, Caleb, man. Like, Caleb is so bad. He's got to turn it around. And obviously, like, will they be good enough if they're just middling on both sides? But their potential is immense. There's no question. Number 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers' argument is simple. They have a coach that's won a Super Bowl and never has a losing season. That's a pretty high floor, and that's a pretty high ceiling. Second, they could have the best pass rush in the NFL. They could have the best defensive player in the NFL. They could have the best secondary they've had in a while and one of the better cornerback trios in the sport. They could have a quarterback combined with an elite defense that's won not one, not two, but 4 MVPs. If Aaron Rodgers can get on whatever voodoo magic he's got to set himself on, and he can click, and he can get back to MVP Aaron Rodgers, look out. Top defense, Aaron Rodgers is back. That's a team that can win the Super Bowl. I don't care what's around him. DK Metcalf and nothing else. I don't care. They do have Jonnu. I like Jalen Warren. The O-line is suspect, but they're young. There are a lot of high draft picks there. They could work out. And Arthur Smith is decent as an offensive coordinator. So, at number 17, the Pittsburgh Steelers. At number 16, the LA Chargers. Now, the LA Chargers feel low. But here's the thing. The Chargers feel like a team that can make the playoffs. But first of all, we've never seen Justin Herbert win a damn playoff game. So how about that? Second of all, we have a team that lost their left tackle already, and he's not coming back. So I can't say that he's going to get Karate Kid chopped all of a sudden by Mr. Miyagi and then just appear back on the field. I can't say that. I can say that Ladd McConkey is a dog, and I can say that Amari and Hampton, could be pretty good. I could say that maybe one of their rookies steps up at receiver. I know that Quentin Johnston won't. But if their offensive line can just be average without Rashawn Slater, Herbert can play his best ball he's ever played, and if that's the case, he could be a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. He could be the MVP of the sport. Defensively, they allowed the least amount of points in football last year, but I don't know how. Because every time they played a good quarterback, Lamar, Burrow, etc., Baker, they got lit the F up. So they were extremely overrated last year, and they lost pieces in their front 7. But they still have Derwin James. I love Henley. I like some of their young guys at corner. They still have the ageless Khalil Mack. They've still got enough. I like Thule quite a bit. They have Jim Harbaugh, who's a great coach, a great motivator. They have enough to be an average chance of winning a Super Bowl, but this is a team that has to go through the Bengals, the Ravens, the Bills, the Chiefs, in their own damn division, the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chiefs, and win the Super Bowl. That's really hard to do when you don't have a great receiving core, your O-line's already hurt, your defense lost pieces on the front seven. At number 15, the Minnesota. Rewind. Give me 1 sec. Deep breath, Mitch. The Minnesota Vikings. Nailed it. JJ McCarthy, your reason number uno why I'm not sure where I can put this team. One day I read JJ McCarthy slices up the Patriots. One day I read that JJ McCarthy can't not throw an interception. So I don't know what to do. Now, I do love Brian Flores, and I think he has the best scheme in the NFL on defense. The best. Move over. Vic Fangio. Steve Spagnuolo. The best scheme is Brian Flores, bud. Now, the D-line, you got Andrew Van Ginkel, playmaker. You've got Jonathan Grenard, probably the most underrated edge player in football. If Hargrave and Allen hit, we're talking about a scary pass rush. They have good linebackers led by Blake Cashman. Harrison Smith still getting it done. I like Josh Metellus. They need their corners to step up. Maybe Jeff Okudah becomes the Ohio State version. It's very well possible. Maybe Isaiah Rodgers is the most underrated corner in football. Who knows? We know that Murphy will catch some picks. We do know that. Offensively, their O-line could literally be the best in the NFL. Like, it has that potential. They have Darisaw O'Neal at tackle. They have Donovan Jackson at left guard, a first-round pick stud. Ryan Kelly's a top 10 center. Will Fries is a really good guard. They have TJ Hawkinson. They might have the best playmaker in football in Justin Dam Jefferson. Aaron Jones still looks fantastic. Jordan Mason, everybody's buzzing him up to the moon. Jordan Addison, once he figures out his life, he'll get back on the field, and he's a good football player. So, they have a ton of talent. They have a great coaching staff. If JJ McCarthy hits, he's not a rookie technically, right? Technically, he's not a rookie, which means he has a chance to win the Super Bowl. Tom Brady did it, right? Russell Wilson did it. Ben Roethlisberger did it. And all of them did, except for Tom. Tom didn't do it, right? Tom didn't play in his first year, but those guys did go to the Super Bowl and win the Super Bowl. Just throwing it out there. JJ's also from Michigan. Just throwing it out there. Vikings could be higher on this list. They could, but the Vikings had never won a Super Bowl. Kevin O'Connell has never won a playoff game. We got to see it. At number 14, the New England Patriots. Some people are going to hate this. Some people are going to be so pissed off, they're going to comment, I unsubscribe. You're so biased. Mitch, you love the Patriots. Stop. The Patriots suck, Mitch. You're in denial, jabroni. You see my eyes? Do you see me blinking? You see me blinking right now, bro? Patriots. I'm going to blink now because my eyes are watering. The Patriots. This light is way too bright for me to not blink. The Patriots have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Why? I'll put it simple. They have the best game managing coach in the NFL. Mike Vrabel is a dog. Mike Vrabel is the type of coach that can win you a Super Bowl because of his mentality, because of the tone he sets, because of his leadership. We've seen this guy take a scrap heap to the number one seed in the AFC. We've seen him beat Tom Brady, MVP Lamar Jackson in the same playoffs. Second, Drake May could be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I know that sounds insane, but he literally could be. There's nothing he can't do. He can throw it inside, outside the pocket, inside, outside structure. He can run. He's got the dog in him. He's tough. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. What can Drake May not do? He could be the breakout quarterback. So right there, you got a chance. They have a first-round pick left tackle. They have maybe the next Jahmyr Gibbs, Alvin Kamara at running back, and Travion Henderson. I just call him Hendo. They got Stephon Diggs, who, is there a guy more motivated than Stephon Diggs? And honestly, I feel like they have some underrated playmakers like Ramondre, Demario Douglas, Hunter Henry, for example. They do have Josh McDaniels, who's won not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, 6 Super Bowls as their offensive coordinator. They do have a defense that could have in their potential a top secondary in football. Christian Gonzalez could literally be the defensive player of the year. Carlton Davis, Jabril Peppers. They could have the best D-tackle duo in football in Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. So when I look at it, they could have a top 10 defense. They could have a top 10 offense. They have an easy schedule. They might have an ascending quarterback. They have an awesome coach. What are they missing? Their potential is awesome. Now, they don't have a number 1 receiver. But do you need one? If Henderson's as good as he looks, and Diggs is back, and Douglas can do it, and Henry's good, do they truly need one? I mean, the Bills don't have a number 1 receiver, let's be honest. So, the Patriots are at number 14. At number 13, the Denver Broncos. Now, the Broncos do have a number 1. His name is Courtland Sutton. They have already proven that they're good by making the playoffs. And as much as I like Mike Vrabel, they do have Sean Payton. They also might have the best defense in the NFL, which is their argument. When you have a chance to be the best, most dominant defense in football, led by Nick Bonito, Zach Allen, Pat Surtain, a first-round pick in Barron, a really good safety in Brandon Jones, Dre Greenlaw, Talanoa Hufanga. If those guys are healthy, forget about it. They got DJ Jones. They got John Franklin Myers. They got Jonathan Cooper. That is an awesome front. That's an awesome defense. Vance Joseph's a good defensive coach. Sean Payton's a great head coach. He's won a Super Bowl before. Bo Nix enters year 2. He could ascend. Their O-line's top 3 in football. They've got a new electrifying running back. They've got a new electric tight end. Do they have enough there from their young receivers? Maybe Pat Bryant can bring something. So Denver certainly has the potential. But Denver will have to go through Buffalo. They will have to go through Kansas City. They will have to go through Baltimore. They will have to go through New England. Yeah, I said it. But could they do it? Sean Payton could do it. The defense, if it's the best in football, if Bo Nix ascends to top 10, they got a chance. Number 12, the Washington Commies, the Commanders. We just saw them get to the NFC Championship. That's pretty much their argument. From a truthful stance of roster, they don't have much of a chance because I don't love their run defense. I don't love their pass rush. I think their secondary is suspect. And there are questions about Terry McLaurin holding out their running back position. Apparently, Brian Robinson might get cut. I don't know where that comes from. Zach Ertz is older than dirt. There are plenty of reasons to not believe in the Commanders, but at the same time, what we saw last year was magical. Jaden Daniels, never being too small for the moment, always living up to the moment, always coming through on 3rd down, always coming through on 4th down. The offense seemingly always making the play. Cliff Kingsbury being a great play caller, right? Them having a plethora of playmakers. Debo, is there a guy with more dog in him in football? Right? You have Terry McLaurin. At his best, he can dominate a game. He can win a game for you. Right? So, the Commanders, they could have a top 5 offense. If the Commanders, as I'm charging my mouse, because it needs to be charged, in the middle of a video, guys, I am committed. Let's just say that. I'm not pausing this video for me to charge my mouse. No. I'm going to continue. Now, they've got an offensive line with Laramie Tunzel. Connerly could be pretty damn good. If their O-line could ascend to elite, protecting Jaden Daniels, with Debo run after catch, with Terry down the field, and if they can get just a little bit left out of Vaughn Miller, and just a little bit more out of Daron Payne, and they can get just a little bit more out of Bobby Wagner, and a little bit more out of Frankie Louvu at their old age, and Marshawn Lattimore is Marshawn Lattimore, then perhaps they can do it. Perhaps. But the quarterback gives them a damn good chance. Okay, so next we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at 11. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are at number 11. They have a really good quarterback in their own right, in Baker Mayfield. He's also an excellent leader, Baker Mayfield. That is first of all. Second, they have a ton of captains, a ton of leaders that have won a Super Bowl. I've literally seen them do it. Vita Vea, Levante David, Antoine Winfield, Christopher Godwin, Mike Evans, Tristan Wirfs. I've seen them win the Super Bowl. Plus, they have one of the most electric set of playmakers in the sport. Emeka Abuka, McMillan, Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Cade Otton. They have a good offensive line. They have a defense that should be elite against the run. They do have an improvement in terms of their secondary depth. Hassan Reddick is a huge wild card, but if he is Hassan Reddick, they might have a pass rush this year. So they have upside. Now, the biggest worry for me with the Bucs is the coaching. I think ultimately that lets them down more often than it does not, right? But I feel like in terms of their roster, sure, their defense wasn't great last year, but it certainly has the potential to be better, and they should have a top 10 offense. They do have a good enough quarterback to get it done. He's played really well in the playoffs. They do have a balanced offense. If Todd Bowles can get more out of his defense, and if this OC is as good as Liam Cohen, we're talking. They're in the conversation. Okay? They're in the conversation. Next, the Green Bay Packers are at number 10. I have the Packers at 10, and the biggest difference for me between the Packers and the Bucs is Matt LaFleur. I believe in Matt LaFleur. I think he's an excellent coach. He's the type of coach I could see winning a Super Bowl. Jordan Love is also the type of quarterback, even if I'm not as high on him as others, Mike Tannenbaum, I could see him winning the Super Bowl because I think his upside is immense. I think the best of Jordan Love is as good as anybody. When he's on a hot streak, he is tough to stop. He's one of those guys that gets in a zone and he just throws BBs. Their receiving core has immense potential, immense speed and explosiveness. They have a bunch of guys that could ascend into their prime on both sides of the ball. Matt Golden, potentially Jaden Reed and or Christian Watson and or Romeo Dobbs. They do have Josh Jacobs, one of the best backs in football. Tucker Kraft's another guy that could enter his prime. The O-line is always good in Green Bay. They're going to have a top 10 offense. They have a great play caller in Matt LaFleur. Defensively, Quay Walker could enter his prime. Edgerrin Cooper could enter his prime. Lucas Van Ness, Devontae Wyatt. These are first-round pick quality players here that we're talking about, right? That doesn't even include the secondary. So the defense also in year 2 of the scheme change. I think they have enough in terms of the potential of their team. The youth of their team finally comes together at the perfect moment, and all of these guys just ascend another level, and it takes them up a notch. Jordan Love gets a bit better, right? So that's why I have them at number 10. They're capable of going on a crazy run. At number 9, the Houston Texans. The Texans' argument is simple. They've been in the playoffs the first 2 years of CJ Stroud's career. CJ Stroud is only 23 years old, or will be this year. right? They do have a number one alpha receiver, a number one corner, 2 number one edge rushers. And they do have a young, potentially pretty good rookie tackle in Ursary, X Factor. They also, at his best, have a really good running back in Joe Mixon. The argument is simple. Back-to-back playoffs, back-to-back division wins, back-to-back playoff wins. We've seen CJ Stroud do it. There is something in the veins, in the core of CJ Stroud that I believe in from a winner mentality, a winner. There's something about him in big games. He has it. I believe in it. Defensively, they could be the it defense. They could be the defense, the best in football. They have a great cornerback duo. They have speed, ferociousness, physicality, a great pass rush. The Texans have immense potential even if the offensive line is shaky. Imagine if it was good. At number 8, the Detroit Lions. I have the Lions at 8 because it's tough for me to imagine them overcoming Ben Johnson, Aaron Glenn, some losses including Frank Ragnow. And it's tough for me to imagine, as much as I like Jared Goff, it's tough for me to imagine Jared Goff winning 4 or 3 playoff games and outplaying the other guy every time. Maybe he doesn't have to, but it feels like this team will still be running through their offense. And let's be fair, compared to some of the coaches and teams that are ahead of these guys, they haven't proven as much in the playoffs as much as they've been great the last 2 years. They've only won 1 playoff game. Right? Did they win 2? Like, I don't know, but Dan Campbell last year, they got upset by a pretty below average roster in the Commanders at home. They got outplayed, outcoached. The year before, they choked against the 49ers. They were up big, they choked. Now the Niners, they were favored to win, but they still choked. They pulled the Falcons. Okay? The O-line. Is it as dominant? That being said, the argument for them to win it, the skill talent is outrageous. Jamison Williams' ceiling is higher than people think. Amon-Ra is literally the best slot receiver in football, right? Sam Laporta could be, a really, really elite tight end if he isn't already. Jahmyr Gibbs is literally the most electric running back in football, right beside Saquon Barkley. They have awesome tackle play. They have a good quarterback. The defense has an upper echelon pass rusher, a top-notch safety duo, a ascending middle linebacker. They don't have a truly elite shutdown corner, but they do have good feisty ones. If they could even just add another edge rusher, they're right there as complete of a roster, as complete of a player unit core that you can find in the NFL. So that's their opportunity. At the same time, though, was their opportunity already passed? And they haven't really proven to do it in the playoffs like some of these teams I'm about to talk about. At number 7, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Right? Kyle Shanahan, every season he's made it to the playoffs, I believe he's won 2 playoff games in every single playoff season. 2019, right? Divisional round, NFC Championship. 2021, they were a wild card team. Upset the Cowboys, upset the Packers. Nearly upset the Rams. 2022, they beat the Seahawks and Dallas. Lost to the Eagles with Brock Purdy getting hurt on the second play. 2023, they beat the Packers and beat the Lions and lost in overtime in the Super Bowl. So Kyle Shanahan is one of the best playoff coaches in football. He's proven to take care of business at home. He's proven to upset opponents on the road. They're dangerous if they get in. Brock Purdy has also proven to come back in big games and play in big moments pretty well. They do have one of the best cores in the NFL, and at their best, they have an argument to have the best running back, the best left tackle, the best tight end, the best edge rusher, the best linebacker in the entire NFL. All of those players are capable of that potential. That is rare. They also have a really good receiving core when healthy. They also have a really good defensive coordinator, which they haven't had in previous years. They have a young core of players that I really believe in, right? And this is a team that's just consistently been better when people think or doubt them. And I think they're a very nasty underdog team, and we've also seen them as favorites. So at number 7, the 49ers. At number 6, the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, the Bengals would not rank this high on a typical power ranking because I think the Bengals have not an equal chance of missing or making the playoffs, but it's a little bit slimmer than some other teams. Let's just put it that way, right? Because their floor is lower than a lot of teams that are in the playoff conversation because of how bad their defense was last year. We literally saw their floor last year. But their ceiling has been a team that made the Super Bowl and made the AFC Championship in 2 consecutive years. And they did it with the same coach, the same quarterback, and the same nucleus. Next, Joe Burrow could literally be the best player in the NFL. Jamar Chase could literally be the best player in the NFL in any given moment and any given season. And whenever your quarterback and your receiver can be the best combination and the best player individually in the entire league, you have a chance to win the Super Bowl, period. Your defensive end also has led the NFL in sacks last year. So, they could have the best passing game in football, the best offense in football, and literally the best quarterback in the league, which means they have a very good chance of winning the Super Bowl, no matter if they also have a chance of winning 8 games. Understood? At number 5, I have the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams have won a Super Bowl with Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, first of all. Second of all, if healthy, Matthew Stafford is as good as any quarterback in a big game and a big moment. He's basically only behind Patrick Mahomes. Otherwise, he's right there with Josh Allen or any other quarterback that you would put him up against. Maybe a little bit below Allen, but regardless, he's right there. Okay? In the clutch, Stafford is sweet. Second, Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams is pretty fucking dangerous. All right? Baker Mayfield couldn't have said it better himself. The offensive line is good when healthy, but again, they've got to be healthy. The defensive front has as much potential to ruin games as any in the NFL. So sure, they have questions about Stafford's back. They have questions about Devontae Adams' age, the right tackle's age, the left tackle blood clots, the secondary speed, the linebackers. They have questions, but we're talking about ceiling. We're talking about Super Bowl. They have the Hall of Fame coach. They have the Hall of Fame quarterback. They have the Hall of Fame receiver talent. They can get it done. They can get it done. At number 4, the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, what's holding me back to saying the Eagles are not higher is it's hard for me to imagine Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni winning back-to-back Super Bowls. It isn't exactly Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, but they still have an argument for the best roster in the NFL. They still have an argument for the best running back in the NFL. They might this year have the best interior defensive lineman in the league. They have potential to have the best corner. I really believe Quinyon could be that good soon. I feel like A.J. Brown at any given moment could be the best receiver. So a lot like, or the best, might have the best right tackle. They have one of the best left tackles. So in any given moment, they have an excellent roster and a lot of great players in their core. At the same time, they have a lot of youth. Cooper DeJean, Jordan Davis, Nolan Smith, Hunt, Ajomo, Campbell. They've got a dog at linebacker in Zach Bond, who also could arguably be the best linebacker at any given moment. Landon Dickerson isn't old. Devontae Smith isn't old. They still got a youthful enough roster to sustain a back-to-back. And it feels like they have the defensive coach that can go toe-to-toe with the best offenses and fool them. So the Eagles are still awesome. It's just the core of the quarterback and the coach. It's hard for me to imagine that they can make their way through 2 long playoff runs and out-scheme, out-coach, and outplay opposing guys, especially if their defense isn't literally the best in the NFL and their running back literally isn't the best I've ever seen in a playoff run. So the Eagles are still awesome, but only at 4 for me. At number 3, the Kansas City Chiefs. It would not be surprising for the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I know that they just lost the Super Bowl and Super Bowl hangovers are real, but the Patriots did this already. They lost in 2017 and they won in 2018. It's possible that Tom Brady, Bill Belichick could do it. It's possible that Mahomes and Reed could do it, especially considering that their offense was not good last year and it could be good this year, especially with the NFL looking out for the Chiefs, slipping one under the table and giving them Rashee Rice in their first few weeks. I see what you're doing there, NFL, especially after Taylor Swift went on a podcast. I see you, NFL. Xavier Worthy could really break out in a big way. Travis Kelce might still have his last legs under him. They might have a new awesome left tackle, and Pacheco might be healthy. So their offense might be sweet. Even though, Mahomes might not be 2022 version, but he's motivated to be better, and he looks a little slimmer, and he's not fat anymore, potentially, which is a big factor. I was calling him out on that. I hope he saw my videos. Defensively, they do still have Christopher Stone Cold Jones. They still have one of the best linebacking cores. They still have one of the best corners, and literally the best big game schemer on that side of the ball in the NFL in Steve Spagnuolo. So they have the coaching, they have the quarterback. We know what the Chiefs are. They have the big game mentality. They have the big game moments. They have a bunch of champions across the roster, right? They can do it. There's no question. At number 2, the Buffalo Bills. Sometimes it's just your year. When you look at the Buffalo Bills, their quarterback got married. I feel like there's been a trend when that happens in the NFL. I'm just going to throw that out there. Second of all, they're on Hard Knocks. And everything about that show is selling Bills are going to win the Super Bowl. And I know the NFL scripts these things. Third, their schedule is setting up for a glorious Buffalo Bills number 1 seed. Home game, home game, home game, home game against all the best AFC teams, all the best NFL teams. Josh Allen. Period. They have a really good offensive line. And their defense could be the deepest and the best it's been since about 2021. If there was ever a time for the Bills to do it, it's now. At number 1, the Ravens. I think they have the best roster in the NFL, and they might have the best quarterback and playmaker in the NFL in Lamar Jackson. They also have Derrick Henry in one final last ride. If you need to rely on a guy in cold weather, it's Derrick Henry. To get it done in Buffalo, to get it done in Kansas City, he can get it done. You just can't drop the ball. Mark Andrews. Speaking of that, they have Mark Andrews, Zay Flowers, who didn't play against the Bills last year, by the way, Isaiah Likely. They do have D-Hop to help that core of Rashad Bateman and the boys, and I really like what I've seen from Keaton Mitchell to add some spark to the backfield. Defensively, they could have the best secondary in football. I think it is, especially if Jair can stay healthy. You've got Alexander Hamilton, Wiggins, and Humphrey, my freaking goodness. What? And you also have Roquan Smith. Mike Green looks like a dog. Kyle Van Noy is a dog. Matabike, forget about it, man. The Ravens are ridiculously stacked. They have the quarterback, and I know that he hasn't proven it in the playoffs, but it's going to happen eventually. He's a 2-time, almost 3-time MVP. He's a future Hall of Famer. He's a dog. Lamar Jackson. So at number 1, I have the Ravens. There it is, guys. Thank you for watching. Those are my Super Bowl chances rankings for 2025. If you enjoyed, spike the like button. I'll see you in the next video. Deuces.